Okay, hit the button. So that means this is the pre-show for episode 89. And we're talking this on what got nerfed. There's a few nerfs going on here, a lot of buffs, and a lot of just like kind of stuff getting announced for next season. We're getting some seasonal artifact mods. So we'll probably get to use most of our favorite weapons next season, no matter what game type, what level of PvE you're playing. And then there's always the new Eververse store stuff that's coming out with the Assassin's Creed that got dropped today or yesterday. Which day was that?
What a surprise, by the way, right?
This morning.
Okay, yeah. It's not the game I
not a
would've
world I
pictured.
expected us to be in.
Yeah.
But they have apparently in Assassin's Creed there's a Shaxx and a Saint armor, and then you saw there's a Yallarhorn sword that's in there. There's a couple of other weapons that are going to be in there, but I'm not sure which ones.
Like two other swords that we have.
I
wanted to say don't say too much because we had a good question about that. So
okay.
I mean we can okay. We'll save the rest for
the
actual pod.
Outside of Destiny, I unlocked comp this week in Overwatch. And what a humbling experience that is compared to playing quick play.
Oh, really?
Oh, I bet, man.
You're doing placement matches, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. So, like, in quick play, it's pretty regularly I would have, like, a 5 KD. So, like, easy games, I'm getting 25 to low 30 kills. And then the first 2 games of comp, I was, like, 8 and 10, 9 and 9. Not putting out that much damage, just getting domed if I move, hit a corner and Black Widows is back there somewhere, just waiting for me. I played one guy that his teammates was chirping him, even then like in the game chat, it was like, you should stop reverse boosting. You do not deserve to be here. Please leave. This isn't fun. And I was like, you should not be playing that way. And like he didn't miss a shot. He got like 35 kills with Black Widow. Is Fox muted? Is Chad muted? What happened to my audio? Logitech. Can't do that. I kept that audio.
Chad, so I think Santa Claus might be bringing Pokemon to my son. Which
okay.
Which do you think Santa Claus will bring, Violet or Scarlet?
I mean, the coolest one is Violet.
We're very big fans of Bulbasaur, Charmander, Charizard.
I'm very sad to say that
Squirtle.
They are not in this game.
What?
Bulbasaur. What do you mean they're not in this game?
How am I supposed to get what I said.
Characters.
The Mons? I don't know. They're gonna if they're playing this like they did with Sword and Shield, there's gonna be DLCs, and that's gonna be how people are gonna get the other Mons in. Like there's a whole section on the upper right of the map that is not blacked out, but it's grayed out, so you can't even get to it. So I think that's how they're planning to get opened up, because like in Sword and Shield they had 2 DLCs that opened up an island to the left, or Yeah, an island to the right, and then an area down south that wasn't on the map. So I think that's how they're gonna play it.
You're telling me that when Santa Claus brings this game, I'll be the one playing it and he'll be watching. I'm
Yep.
not gonna be able to have a Charizard.
That is correct. Yeah, but there is currently an event going on where you can catch a Charizard, but it'll probably be gone by then.
Doesn't help me.
I know.
Santa Claus, I should
What
say.
has Pokemon done? That's terrible.
It yeah, it is pretty bad.
Time gated events.
They like dropped it so that each game has starts with, so far it looks like a pattern that the games start with Pokedex of 400 instead of the full dex, like what it used to be in like from silver on. It was the Mons it would be like the original Mons or the new Mons and then some other stuff added in, and then once you beat the game, it opens up a whole new zone that has the rest of them, and then the rest of them would just like slowly get sprinkled into the rest of the map. But I don't know why they're doing it the way they did.
Not real happy with Game Freak.
A lot of people aren't.
Who's that? What do they make?
That's Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
They're what are they called? Not the design team. Not the producers. They're the developers. Sorry. We're on.
So like 10 cents.
Had 6 Coronas and 10 cores. No, 10 Cent is a publisher.
Oh.
The developer would be Bungie. The publisher would be Sony. All right. You guys ready to let the dogs out?
Almost. I'm saving this real quick. Then I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Saving is a thing in this game.
I think I'm 2-2 on my playset masters on Overwatch.
Dude, I've been playing the DMZ on the Warzone.
Yeah.
Which is like Tarkov, baby Tarkov.
Yeah.
It's glorious, dude.
So what are you
good.
exactly getting when you extract besides XP?
All right, so there are there's less weapons on the map. Okay, so it's not like Warzone where you drop in and there's 5 weapons in every house and 2 on the roof, and but there are items like computer hard drives, computer thumb drives, electrical tape, aged wine, rare wine. All those give you money.
Okay.
There are contracts, which are basically bounties, like 4 and 5 step bounties, or it's almost like more like a quest than a bounty that you can do. So it's like go and explore this area, find this chest, open the chest. You now have a Geiger counter, so you can track radiation to see where the radiation is coming from. Find the radiation cause, open it up, get a key. The key goes to a place on the map. You go there and you open that chest and you have like rare materials. There are certain weapon blueprints that are like tied behind that. So like the M13, for example,
okay.
is one.
Yeah.
And then you get like silly. I've already maxed out 2 weapons, like just playing DMZ the past week, like all the way to like level 19.
Okay.
So it's a good source of XP at the moment. Also, there are 3 different factions in there that you have quests for that you level up. Quests that last like a little bit more intricate than like the little contracts, the little bounties inside each game.
Yeah.
And you do those, you rank up those factions, which unlocks your insured weapon slots. So that way, if you die, obviously, if you die and you don't extract everything on you, you lose. Correct.
Yeah.
All the weapons, but if you have an insured slot, then in 120 minutes, you can use one of your weapon blueprints that you've ranked up or have like a loadout you can kind of go in with. But you only start with one slot. So you have to rank up the factions to unlock the other two slots. Like there's been times that, I've had to start with no weapons, find a weapon, and then, which isn't as bad as it sounds. It's not the end of the world. But it's just fun because like the bots are just good enough to where they can kill you.
Yeah.
Like if you just try to like run through them. And there's also other players on the map that are trying to stop you from doing what you're doing. It's just fun, man. Real fun.
Last night.
And I'm also playing God of War, like 2018 God of War.
Okay.
I'm probably 30% through, 35% through, and I'm just like itching to play it. But my brother-in-law's been on the past few nights, so we've been playing.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I think you can have 66 people on a map in DMZ, but the map's big enough to where you're never like spawning on top of people. You might see like 2 teams a game, something like that. But there's always 3 extraction zones per map that start out.
Yeah.
And if you start, like you could guard those extraction zones and see a lot more teams, obviously.
Yeah.
Try to play spoiler. Played much Destiny this week?
Last night I logged on, and Zen and Shifty, myself did a GM. So Zen completed his seasonal challenges, got that lump sum bright dust.
I didn't realize Zen had played that much this season.
Yeah, he's been playing, but he's also like, he's got that weird account setting to where like sometimes he appears online and sometimes he doesn't.
Oh.
He has to like change it every time or something. I don't know. Not sure exactly what he's done, but yeah, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, a lot. And its new season also starts on December 6th. And
yeah.
Yeah, and the new tank is...
That was a quick season.
Yeah, it started when Destiny did. Didn't it?
No.
Oh.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Looking it up.
What are you looking up?
When Overwatch 2 started.
Overwatch 2 release date.
Yeah, still mainly main Sojourn. I know that a lot of people on Twitter like really complain about her. Think that she's overpowered. I wouldn't say that. I think there's a lot of other stuff that you just get one shot by as a DPS.
The release date, that season 2 is December 6th.
Yep.
They have like a seasonal event, usually in December too. I can't remember.
Released
Yeah.
October 4th. So yeah, it was only 2 months long.
Don't even feel like it's been that long. That surprises me.
I think I get people paying money because this time the tank is instantly unlocked if you buy the season pass, or you gotta get the season pass 50 maybe.
Season pass 50
I think.
on the free track or whatever.
Yeah. And then like the season after it automatically unlocks.
It opens up to everybody.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna click the button. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 89 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is December the 1st. I am the Destiny bad boy, NotRyanFox, and I have returned with my fire team, who all of you Conqueror's Corner boys know by now. Jared.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of been taking sabbaticals, and now this is the TWAB to kind of bring us back in and focus and get ready for this next season to come.
And the chronicler himself, chadocero.
Yeah, like Jared said, we've all been kind of doing our own things in other games. So it's nice to get back and talking about Destiny.
And don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Bungie friend request. I hate to speak for everybody else here, but I can personally say that if I had people wanting to complete tasks, I'd be a lot more likely to be playing this game right now, as opposed to taking a sabbatical. But so join the Discord server. We did have Hippie bringing us the TWAB this week. But before we get into the TWAB, everybody listen to our intro music from everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG.
All right, everyone. So earlier today, before the TWAB dropped, we got a little teaser out on Twitter, and I don't know many other places, what probably happened that Destiny 2 and Assassin's Creed was doing a little crossover, and you're going to find stuff in their respective stores, skins to go purchase and play Destiny. Or I'm not real familiar with Assassin's Creed, but imagine like they have it where you purchase skins in their store, and it's like almost like ornaments to go over top whatever armor that you already have. So looking at that, I mean, looks pretty cool for the most part. And in Assassin's Creed, you'll be able to play Shaxx and play Saint 14. So, Chad, I mean, they're taking your two favorite Titans, ain't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, those are definitely two of my favorite Titans. It's gonna be, I think it was Assassin's Creed Odyssey is what they're doing that in. Is that what it was? Or no, Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah.
Valhalla is the most recent one. I do not have that. I stopped playing after Black Flag, I think.
Me too.
Yeah. Which is pushing me to get Valhalla, but no, I'm not gonna fall for it. I got to spend enough money on Destiny as it is.
Yeah, Fox. So looking at the Warlock, are you probably gonna be purchasing that armor set?
I purchased all of them. Let's not try to act like I'm on some moral high ground here about crossover events. If I bought a freaking Fortnite skin in Destiny, like I'm gonna buy all of them. So it's kind of where I sit currently.
Yeah, for me as a hunter, it's really going to depend on how that cloak falls. If it's gonna be a long cloak or a short one, I have to see how that
It should be a
looks.
long one if it's like Altair. Then that kind of who it's based off of from the first 3 games.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or no, was it Ezio or Altair was the first ones? Chad, do you remember?
Altair is the first one.
Okay,
Ezio
and
was the
then
second.
Okay. God, I started saying we're gonna get creamed in the Twitter DMs if we don't get that correct. So I hate to jump in here and steal from a mailbag question, but I'm gonna go ahead and take one here. This question came from No Scopes on Twitter. It says, since Ask Creed is having a Destiny crossover that opens up Destiny to several other games, what other games or genres would you like to see Destiny market with?
Doom.
So,
Okay.
does Doom have
Just
characters
because.
besides the main guy?
No, they have Doom Guy,
Yeah,
They have Doom
Which
Guy,
is-
and that's it.
and he's a Titan. He's essentially a Titan,
yeah.
just like Master Chief, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, it's kind of on the nose, but I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, so I mean, I feel like they could partner up with that. But it's Activision, so it's kind of probably some
Right.
not too well there, but I think it'll be cool.
The two I thought of, which are wildly different from each other, would be Mortal Kombat as the one. Like get like a scorpion skin or something to be able to use, or the other was Final Fantasy. You could kind of have some of the Final Fantasy tropes kind of built in. Not that there's a lot of like armored characters or things in Final Fantasy, but some of the robes you could get like some weapon skins that were kind of in that vein. So those were my first 2 thoughts. No idea where Mortal Kombat came from. I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game since I was in middle school. However, I just think it'd be cool to, have if your Titan or your Warlock or Hunter could dress up to look like Scorpion or Sub-Zero or Reptile or one of those dudes. I think it'd be pretty cool.
They could probably pair up with Elder Scrolls Online, and like there's a few characters like that's been across games that they could probably pull from that.
They're owned by Microsoft. Bungie's owned by Sony. That's not happening.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
All right.
But I have been seeing that deal might not go through. The Activision Blizzard Microsoft deal might get nixed, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there's just going to be a few more of what are the people that go to Parliament and just get paid to talk to the lobbyists? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just going to be a few of those. They'll drop some bags off. It'll get through. All right, let's go into the meat and potatoes of the TWAB here and talk about changes that's coming next season. So first up is we touched on most of these weapons leaving, but we actually got names to the weapons coming that is new. So for trials, we have Exalted Truth, Suros, Adaptive Hand Cannon, and also its Adept version, and then the Unwavering Duty, Suros Adaptive Machine Gun, also in its Adept version, and leaving is Aisha's Embrace and Reed's Regret. Iron Banner, we're getting Dark Decider Auto Rifle and Ganora's Axe Slug Shotgun. If that rings a bell, it should, because it's already been in the game once, but was sunset before. Leaving is Forge's Pledge, Pulse Rifle, and Reese Walker. Now, Nightfall, this is new information here. We are getting Wendigo GL3 Heavy Grenade Launcher back and Hung Jury SR4 Scout Rifle. Leaving Silicon Neuroma and Duality. Duty Bound. So, Chad, I mean, any of those weapons that you're excited to go grind for next season?
I mean, it's nice to have Wendigo back, and it's cool to have it in a way that it's going to be grindable for random rolls. So it's not going to be just the the one that you got. So it means
Explosive
that
light.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be just a pinnacle weapon. No, what did they call it? Pursuit.
It was a pinnacle weapon.
The seasonal.
I believe it was a pinnacle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So that means that that is a chance of those becoming other things. So
Mhm.
other like other ones like the fusion, and then like other weapons that have
Oh,
been the
loaded
pinnacle
loaded
have a
question.
chance at being in that rotation. Yeah. So that's a thing that could happen, down the line. Wendigo obviously is one of the ones that was sunset, I
Mhm.
think. So they'd have to pull from that area, but I think there's still a couple back there that they could use.
Randy.
So it'll be, yeah, Randy, good old Randy. Could you imagine Randy with a bunch of different new perks?
Mhm.
It'd be a fun time. Um, but it's good to see that because it gives you kind of a sight of the future. Hung Jury coming back is like, cool. I never got a good one. Duty Bound, I don't care for it, so I'm glad it's going. Silicon, I never got one, and I don't care, so we're good. Like that rotation doesn't matter to me very much, so I'm
Yeah.
fine there. But having Wendigo back, it gives you a little bit more insight on what they can do in the future.
I kind of have just one little nitpick. You guys know I'm the nitpick guy. If they're gonna bring Hung Jury back, why can't we throw Hung Jury and Iron Banner or something else? That way, people that don't play Nightfalls, like GM Nightfalls, can get maybe an adept version of it. You know what I mean? Like rotate it. Um, so let's say Astral Horizon or Reed's Regret, whenever it comes back, don't throw it back into like the Trials playlist, throw it into the GM playlist and rotate those through
Oh,
in the opposite playlist so people have a better, like if you're like a PvE main, you can still theoretically complete the collection that way. I wish they would do that, but yeah, it's kind of a small complaint, I guess. But Hung Jury just left. So like why is it coming back?
yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I did find that weird.
Um, some of my guesses maybe like Palindrome. Maybe will come around season 20, but I don't like them bringing that weapon back. Like, what else was Sunset that you could have brought back instead? It's like there's probably
It could have been all the Mars weapons
yeah.
that we chased in Curse
The
of Osiris
is there
to get
still a
this.
Nightfall weapon that they haven't brought back yet? I just don't recall. I think they've officially brought them all back. So yeah. So the Reswalker shotgun probably the most missed besides Weed's Regret, which also could be. Hopefully you got one later on in the vault. Now next season's ritual weapon appears to be a Hake pulse rifle, and of course comes with all the different shader ornaments that you can get from PvP strikes and Gambit. Now here's a positive change coming next season. So full auto retrofit has been very popular for a lot of people, and it's also accessibility. It brings a lot more accessibility to a lot of weapons that require lots of trigger pulls or mouse clicks. So that's going to be a toggle pull in your gameplay settings of the game. And then Bungie is also looking into melees that require constant clicking and trigger pulls. That's like you're looking at glaives and maybe a couple other small things. So they're just going to try to make this game more accessible for those things that require many fast clicks. All right, next up is shotguns.
So is being too lazy to use like a sidearm? Is that an accessibility issue or a laziness issue? Because you got to make too many clicks.
I would say you're just misinformed if you're using a sidearm. But yes, as I say, it's probably lazy for the most part.
That's what they call a callback to an earlier episode.
Yeah, it's like the lightweight frame shoots 300 RPM, which is pretty crazy to try to achieve without full auto. And good luck to you. You're probably like less than 25 years old if you're achieving that, right?
Yeah, or on a performance enhancing drug. One or the other.
All right, next up, shotguns. So before Bungie wants to tune fusion rifles, except for those one fusion rifle that's going to get tuned a bit, they are wanting to make shotguns kill at a consistent range and a consistent mainly aim. I think what they're trying to throw into shotguns here. So every shotgun subfamily is going to get its own pellet spread. So aggressives are going to be fixed and evenly distributed. So think of like a snowflake almost. So it's going to look like kind of like a snowflake there. Precision is going to be a vertical oval, and that's going to include duality's hipfire. And I think just an insight, I think this precision shotguns might become meta if you can line that shot up right, like upper chest, where you'll get a couple pellets with the headshot and still get enough pellets to hit the body. A lightweight frame is going to be a diamond shape, rapid fire square, and slug. Of course, that that precision, but they're updating the reticle. Now, each one of these shotguns' reticle is also going to change over the next couple seasons, depending on your field of view. They're going to just change it around a bit. It's going to take them a little bit of time to develop, but the shapes that I mentioned, that's what the reticle is going to be changed to on the shotguns. Additionally, for shotguns, aggressive frames, there were some shotguns that didn't have the correct aggressive perk frame coded in. So that's whenever you get a kill with a shotgun, the RPMs start shooting faster. And then rapid fire frames, they're getting 5% PvE damage buff. And then also the reload speed benefit for rapid fire frames now always applies instead of only when reloading when from an empty mag. And I think that's pretty big in PvE going forward. Well, we mentioned sidearms before, so I was going to mention up this one line here about sidearms. And basically the only one that really matters right now, according in the meta, would be Drang. And its zoom factor was 14, and they're taking that down to 13. So it's still going to be higher base zoom than any other sidearm. You have to get another sidearm with rangefinder in order to get to the same level that Drang is. And Chad,
I don't honestly know because I have played like 0 Crucible this season. So I've kind of done my 3 and got out. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's kind of been me this season. Just have no desire. It's that every time I've been in there, it's been so bad for people at my skill level to where I'm not like super bad, but I'm not good. Like it's a hard place to be right now in Destiny.
you're getting moved into those higher skill lobbies because there's nobody playing.
Yeah, and I am feeling it. Like I am just getting like,
Yeah.
you know, it's bad.
So next up, Chad, is a fusion rifle.
Oh boy. So its main ingredient, a gun that I think Zur had a like 4 out of 5 roll on. So everybody got it that week. All the YouTubers talking about this massive god roll, and both Jared and I were like, I mean, it's great. But they reduced the stability on it from 49 to 35. And then they reduced the aim assist on it from 59 to 45. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to keep it from mapping people. And that's definitely a way to do it, to hit the stability and the aim assist that hard. It's still gonna be great, but you're not gonna be mapping people like you used to. So it's gonna be safer for me and my Glacia Chasm to take them on at range. So it'll be an interesting to try it out, because like I said, I play the heavy fusions. So I don't use main ingredient a lot in PvP. But having that stability and aim assist decrease is definitely gonna hit the people that have gotten used to it. But I mean, in a way that they're trying to intend to kind of rein it in.
So you guys know, one of many episodes ago, I went on this giant rant about how Bungie killed Astral Horizon by taking my god roll away by changing a perk on the gun.
Yeah.
Why? How do you guys feel about them on like one single specific weapon doing this because they sold it at Zur? That's all this is. This isn't like, you know, it's only a widespread problem because they sold it. So how do you feel about this approach of nerfing the weapon stats into the ground as opposed to just changing the perk on a gun like they did previously?
I'm okay with this because I want them to also do the opposite. So I want to take weapons that are bad and update the range stats or stability stat and make them better when they're underperforming. So if I want that to happen, I have to be okay with this happen whenever something is outperforming its intended role, and that's exactly what this fusion rifle did. They're not nerfing any other fusion rifles, just this one that basically became a pinnacle weapon with the role that Xur sold.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't out of the question to get it regardless of whether Xur had it or not. But this gun in particular is a definite outlier for its class of weapon. It had almost the same range as the heavies and the aim assist of the mids, and it hit hard. It hit hard and it hit far and further than any other weapon in its little subfamily there. So it needed to be pulled back a little bit so that the other ones had a chance to shine, because the other ones had decent rolls too. It's just that this one was such an outlier. You know, the only gun in that class, if you liked using fusions to use, was main ingredient. You didn't want to use anything else.
And also at the time, shotguns were killing at 10 meters, and now they're only killing at maybe 7 on a good pellet spread.
For the record, just let the record show, I agree. I like this better than changing a perk that you have on a weapon. I still feel like that's the most ridiculous thing that nobody complains about besides me. The fact that they literally had a weapon that I deleted other rolls of in order to keep one particular weapon, then they come and change it. So I like this much better because in Fairy Tale Land, we can think that they'll come and make other weapons better. So hopefully that we'll see that in the future.
So like they didn't take under pressure away and put surplus on it. You know what I mean? So
right.
All right, next up the glaives. I mean, I think for us three, we really don't use glaives that much, and if we do, we're just like messing around just to see how one plays out. But making some changes here. Glaive projectiles have been adjusted to be more reliable for hit detection. Melee attacks now benefit from exotic armor pieces like Syntheseps, Worm Gods, and Winter's Guile. Glaive melee damage multipliers have been reduced to 20 or 30% against champions, mini-bosses, bosses, and vehicles. Damage against majors and minors are unchanged. And then glaive melee damage has been reduced from 75 to 65. So basically, you can buff the damage with all these exotics, but the nerf and the damage overall to most of the stuff that matters. All right, next up, Rose Hand Cannon. The other side of the coin, though, it just happened to main ingredient. So they're increasing the range from 38 to 43. The stability is going down from 45 to 40. And Haling's going from 68 to 60, and the AE stat is going to be 20. So the reason for this is that at the time Rose was a 150, but now it's a 140, so it needs a little more range. And it is getting the polymer grip in its 5th column. That's going to be random, so you're going to have a lot more ability to change the stability and handling and recoil direction of the gun. All right, next up is blinding effects. So blinding is kind of inconsistent and is now going to be attached to arc. So grenade launchers, queen breakers, grand overture, they will all apply arc blinding effect and not just a static blinding anymore. So it's going to be like less oppressive in PvP. Also, Dragonfly, Rampage, and Surrounded perks will now have their spec mod behaviors enabled by default. So you will not need to slap on that Dragonfly spec to get the biggest explosion. All right, we got a bunch of perk changes here. So they're trying to buff Air Assault again. So this time when you get a cure with Air Assault, you get a stack. So if you get that stack when you're on the ground, you only get you get the kill when on the ground. You only get 1 stack. If you get the kill in the air, you get 2 stacks, and every stack gives you 30 AE. So get a kill while in the air will get you 60. All right, Head Seeker. I don't know if anybody's got pulse rifles laying around in the vault with one of these, But body shots now increase your precision multiplier and aim assist, and body shots reset this timer. It has a 0.55 second timer, and body shots while head seeker is active reset the timer. So overall, this perk should just be better and easier to use overall. Encore was a very difficult perk to play with and inconsistent. So they're changing the way it works. So now final blows grant stacks of Encore, and stacks get increased stability, range, and accuracy. And then body shot blows get 1 stack, and then precision fire blows get 2 stacks. And the maxed out stacks you can get is 4. So this is pretty good. I can see this pairing really well with Rampage, or Adrenaline Junkie or Swashbuckler. I think this will go really well with those. And now lasts for 7.5 seconds. And each stack is 8 stability, 5 range, and 1.5% accuracy.
You want to tag out here, Jared?
Yeah.
I hope your voice a little bit here. Next we got Seraph rounds. Seraph rounds were awesome. They were on the Ikelos SMG. That's what I always think of them on, because if you got that gun, it didn't have Seraph rounds. It was an insta shard, in my opinion. So it is now going to be appearing on more weapons next season, but in its current form, it's the strongest magazine perk by a large margin. So they pulled back a little and made it more of a trade-off. They removed the plus 10% range, which is unfortunate because it did give you the range boost, and I want to say it like ricocheted as well. The Seraph rounds did.
Yeah, it was just the best ricochet rounds ever.
Yeah, and now it offers plus 7 stability and plus 3 range. So, it's not the only option at this point, but it's definitely one you'd keep an eye out for. Then we have Tunnel Vision plus Kill Clip not being refreshable while active has always been counterintuitive, so we've now set them up to allow that. That being said, this makes Kill Clip too strong compared to other damage perks, so we've pulled it back a little. The duration of these buffs can now be refreshed if activated while already active, reduce Kill Clip damage bonus from 33% to 25%. I don't know how I feel about that.
It took away a lot of 2 taps, I think, in the game too, from 33 to 25.
Maybe that's why. As somebody, I'm not a Crucible person, so sometimes they do this stuff to help with Crucible, and I'm just oblivious to it. So
I think hand cannon or 140 hand cannon with Kill Clip and like Radiant, you do like 104 per headshot. So I think that's going to be down a bit. So it's going to be resilience based if you get the 2 tap or not.
Okay. And buffs. We want players to be able to use the Hake Breach Armaments Origin trait to bring down Ward of Dawn, Well of Radiance, and Stasis Crystals in PvP. Those are 2 of my favorite supers in the game, I have to say. It now increases damage versus Ward of Dawn and Well of Radiance Sword by 30%, 60% if you use the Artifact mod, and damage bonus against Stasis Crystals have been increased by 15%, both base and with Artifact mod. Gutshot Straight, that perk shipped a little too weak on auto rifles. That perk shipped a little too weak on everything, in my opinion. So we bumped it up a little. They increased the bonus auto rifle body damage from 10% to 20%. Compulsive reload speed benefit is enjoyable, but on certain weapon types, it doesn't remain active deep enough into a magazine, so it now remains active down to half of the ammo. High impact frame intrinsic perk can be hard to use since it switches off with little movement. We've tweaked this so that slow movement, for example, crouching or strafing, doesn't deactivate the perk. Now allows a small amount of movement instead of turning off with any movement whatsoever. What's the perk that is like if you're crouched, you like reload faster and have increased aim assist and
Field prep.
There, nope. It's the one with the 4 arrows up and down.
Firmly planted, yeah.
Firmly planted. So I bet that could work pretty good with that. I would think now might be something to look into. If you're, the only time I like firmly planted is on a sniper, or at this point currently.
It works well on a shotgun too.
Ambition. Yeah, just because your slide
Mhm.
and all that would still be there. Ambitious Assassin's recent adjustment gives it a remarkably high potential for overflowing a magazine, but in areas with sparse enemies, it can be hard to chain kills quickly enough. Increase the allowed time between kills from 5 seconds to 7 seconds, and for well-rounded, the duration increased from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Stacking the effect still resets the timer. Recombination, which I know is a perk that all of us like, which is it specific to Deepstone Crypt?
As we know of right now,
Yes.
but they've talked about in previous
Okay.
TWABs that those are going to be trickled into other things.
Right. So in a week, this could be,
Yes.
or Tuesday, I guess, this could be different. Recombination has some reliability issues, so we made some tweaks and adjusted the damage. This was important since this is now available on new weapons. Tweaks to make this function in PvP as intended now grants up to 100% bonus damage at max stacks in PvE and 50% in PvP. Something to keep an eye on, I would say, especially if you like think of the Templar fight. You got all the shanks and stuff around. You can kind of stack, get the kills to stack that, reload, and you get 100% bonus damage. Like that's pretty significant once you start throwing your tether and your damage cage around from your divinity as well. Zen moment, which I think it's the worst perk in the game. I hate Zen moment. Every time I get it, I'm
Yeah.
just sad. It's not anything else. It provides an extraordinarily strong, if not well understood, reduction to recoil angle. Maybe I'm just too stupid to use in moment, says Bungie. But missing would reset the perk completely, making it difficult to sustain,
Well,
and no longer deactivates on a miss, and it now has a 1-second timer.
you're on mouse and keyboard. You feel
Um,
it. You feel it less.
Go ahead, Jared.
So when you're on mouse and keyboard, Zen moment, you don't feel it as much as compared to on your controller. So that's why.
Yeah. What happens when you're elite. As part of the work on Divinity this season, we looked at other related hiccups, including rewind rounds. Rewind rounds now work as intended when hitting the cage created by Divinity. Pretty sure they worked before. Were they not getting the proper damage?
They're inconsistent. It didn't always proc.
Because I used them a lot on Oryx
Mhm.
on the clears that we had from the Volterglass Sniper Prometheus. No,
Predator's Revenge.
called Predator's Revenge, not Prometheus. I watched that movie not like a week or two ago, so stuck in my brain. Genesis has always refilled weapon ammo on breaking shields in PvE, but hasn't been the case in PvP. We've determined that it was a safe call to make to remove this restriction entirely. It now triggers on breaking player shields as well. I think that seems pretty fair. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that makes me upset about.
I don't think it's going to break anything.
One quiet.
I think it's just going to be okay.
Right.
It's just going to be. I don't think it's going to be sought after at all. The only thing that was Arbalest. Arbalest has it.
No, because the only thing I can think of is there's almost too many perks in this game. Maybe not too many, but there are some that are just dramatically better than others. So if they were all just like lesser, like less good, maybe you would be more likely to pick something like that over another. But you hate to say that. People get so butthurt if you mention making us weaker.
I guess if time to kills
we
will a little bit longer.
got two more here.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd help a lot. One quiet moment wasn't really doing the job of providing fast reloads out of combat in cases where a player has dealt with all nearby threats, so we made the following change. Faster reactivation after a final blow, and gun and run was hard to trigger in PvP or encounters with few enemies, so we decided to half the number of final blows needed to activate this when going up against most enemy types. That takes us to nerfs. So I'll let one of you guys take over from here.
Take it away, Chad.
Oh boy, for the nerfs.
Yeah, box breathing.
All right. So first they're hitting box breathing. So they say it's been too strong of a benefit for too little investment on scout rifles. So they pulled it back a smidge to avoid crossing time to kill thresholds. They reduced the damage bonus on scouts by 5%. Unstoppable forces damage was a little too high for the level of investment, surpassing other damage perks for strength and uptime. So they're changing it. They're reducing the damage from 30 damage bonus from 30% to 20. And my boy, 1-2 punch is one part of several combos that allow stacking melee damage buffs to get far higher than intended. Here's what 1-2 punch will look like. So they from 3 times to 2 times versus most enemies with unpowered melees. From 1.8 to 1.4 times versus most enemies with charged melees. And they reduce the additional bonus versus bosses from 0.5 to 0.25. So they dropped everything quite a bit. The unpowered melees get the ×2, and then so you can still stack it up quite a bit. But there's some stuff they talk about a little bit later on that kind of combo in, like they said, with that. But they didn't hit one thing that I'm still happy about. Now the enhanced perk got a bunch of changes. Not gonna list off all of it. The fundamentals perk though, which was this one, I was actually happy to see. It's because it's interesting. It's on Borealis, Hardlight, Dead Messenger, guns that can rotate their damage typing. They added a stat to each element, so it makes each element feel different, kind of like Elemental Capacitor, which is something that it's a perk Jared's been liking for a little while. So for Arc, the gun gets plus 25 handling and plus 5 range. For Solar, it's plus 35 reload speed and plus 20 AE or airborne effectiveness. For Void, it's plus 20 stability and plus 10 aim assist. So it looks like that's going to be the same across the guns regardless. So if you're looking at more handling, keep it on Arc. Looking at faster reload, Solar, more stability, Void. So it's going to make the gun feel different each time you swap it around. So that's definitely neat. It didn't have that before, so it's just adding extra perks. Mm-hmm. So it's making that ability on these guns feel even more exotic. It's basically a hyped up elemental capacitor on these guns for free. It's not an additional perk that's added there. It's just an additional passive that's added there. So that's really cool. And they also added that breaking a matched shield now refills the mag from reserves and allows your next 5 shots to deal bonus damage, not deactivated by reloading. So in addition to the capacitor abilities, they made it so if you match game, it refills the mag and next 5 shots deal bonus damage. So isn't that so that's only elemental capacitor,
yeah,
a refill. And then there's a perk where if you break shielding, the Arbalest perk.
Oh, disruption break.
Where disruption break.
Yeah.
That's a wild perk, man.
Yeah. So it's only for
That's
Borealis,
just a bunch of
though.
combos.
So
yeah, that one's for Borealis.
It's going to be really good.
But that's crazy.
You know, there was no mention of nerfing Dead Messenger in this TWAB, and it is going to be very popular next season. With Solar and easily getting that reload off fast or running it with Arc, that it's going to get even better.
Yep. Now, talked about Jade Rabbit. It's a strong scout, but its exotic perk is Lackluster. So they made it so that quickly landing 3 crits returns around to the mag and increases the damage of your next body shot. Stacks up to 3 increased damage body shots and resets if you reload. So they made its perk. They added that a little bit to the perk. So it's like cool. That's nice, I guess. I don't use the gun very much, so I can't really say if it's super great or super bad. But it's just adding something to it. So we'll take it, I guess, for people that like that Jade Rabbit. Now they nerfed some of our boys. The first one here is a Jared fan favorite. He's loved this gun since it came out very much. Wither Horde is extremely strong in PvE and P. So the puddle duration got dropped from 7.5 seconds to 4.5. So they dropped it by 3 seconds. So that hits the PvP a little hard. It means you're gonna have to shoot more often in PvE if you want to keep that timer up. And it's just gonna be, shooting it once it reloads and swapping back, and then it's just gonna be more firing of the Wither Horde, which it's Jared's. I'm sure Jared's gonna be like, I don't like that I have to fire it more, but whatever. Now with Divinity,
before we move on,
like we've said, they hit it pretty hard. They're saying that a combination of a weakened cage and okay, yeah.
So they gave us charts of what happened here in data usage in raids, and that is the reason Wither Horde's getting hit. So like everybody's going to be complaining about this, including me. I don't want this to be nerfed, and it's because everybody was just using it in raids. So just like swap off with it your favorite weapons in raids, so that way they don't get nerfed.
So everybody stopped using it for a season?
Yeah. Hmm.
All right, I can do that. I haven't used it all season, so I've already helping you out.
I don't think I've used it in like 3 seasons, so I've been on your side for a while, Jared. Just didn't even know it.
All right, so to Divinity, like I said, they said that the weaken, cage, and overload is a bit too much. So what they're doing is they're dropping the weaken effect from 30 to 15%. Still self buffs to 30%. But if you want that 30%, you're going to have to be using Tractor or a Tether to get the 30 instead. Which is, that's fine. If people are really doing it, they can hit that triple Tether with Orpheus and just time them out so they can get 3 each and keep using the Divinity and call it a day. We're going to be practicing that a lot come next season with Deepstone. Divinity's still a great gun for that, so it's gonna be easy to do. And then moving on, they moved to Arbalist. They said it missed out on the Lorentz driver nerf, so they basically made it match. They reduced the body shot damage to match your Lorentz drivers, so you don't get too many one shots for the body with Arbalist now. Yellerhorn is the highest DPS rocket launcher with great support for legendary weapons. Legendary rockets. So they picked 1 or 2 roles and opted to lean into its more of its support style. They reduced the primary rocket's impact and detonation damage by 25%. The wolf packs are unaffected. They're untouched. They still do what they do. And then it just brings it back in line with everything else, because it was already the rocket's impact and detonation was doing a lot of damage, and then it also had wolf packs on top of that, which made it top the charts in damage there. So they're bringing that down, leaving the wolf packs alone, and that brings it more in line with the rest of the rockets there. Now, Forerunner, for the people that are still using that gun, is very fun, but it received an unintended damage buff with Season 18's balance update that made it a little bit too easy to use. So what they're going to do is they're reducing the base damage from 40 to 37 and the crit damage from 72 to 67. And now they're doing a buff. Dead Man's Tale looks like it prefers critical hits over body hits, and hip fire of both types of targets are inside the precision aim cone. So if you're aiming like just at the bottom of the head and it's coinciding with the body hitbox, it's going to prioritize the precision hit instead. And then they increase the body shot damage from 46 to 54 and reduced crit from 81 to 80. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see that. It's going to be better to get more solid crits when you hit that box. And now they're moving on to Darcy players. Everybody wants to move it to the secondary, but it's not going there. So what they're doing instead is they're going to make it so it applies Jolt now when things are in the scope for long enough, and it has an AE of 80. So if you're in the scope while you're flying in the air and you can zoom in on that guy for long enough to activate it, you can hit it pretty solid with a Jolt. Wishender always had a hidden damage bonus with Wither Horde because it turned the target into a Taken. So they increased the Wither Horde blighted target damage from 10% increase to a 25% increase. So you're going to be able to do a lot of damage that way. And then while they don't want special ammo snipers to be perfectly accurate from the air without significant investment, they increase the base airborne effectiveness of Whisper to 80% as well. So all those people that are shooting all those triple headshots, 360 no scopes from the air with Whisper, you're good to go. Prospector added chain reaction to the intrinsic perk. That's going to be neat because it already fires off really fast and it's pretty fun to use. Fourth Horseman, they decreased the recoil by 50%. So it doesn't fly off the map anymore. Yeah. Now you might be able to control it. It's going to be pretty rad. We'll have to do some damage testing with that on the DSC boss. Chirochi, but dude, like with DSC with a Wither Horde and five, or not Wither, with a Divinity and 5 of those, everybody just firing at that little cage at the bottom of the dude. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Now
I don't know about
Foreigner,
Tanix Insurrected or whatever.
Tanix, that's the one. Well, we'll talk about that later. So for Forerunner, they increase the crit damage in PvE by 30% and the rock, the grenade you get, by 60%. They reduce the ammo cost to activate the grenade from 6 to 4. And they increase damage at the outer edge of its damage radius from 0 to 20%. So it has a bigger range, it's easier to get, and it does more damage now, which is great. That grenade's fun. I like hearing the sound of it clink on the ground. It brings me back. So I'm excited to use that. Merciless, my boy, the OG raid weapon in this game. Merciless decreased charge time on hit now resets on a 5-second timer. So this timer is refreshed when you land hits. So that'll be interesting to see. It's still not going to be great, but fun change anyway. Rat King is always a lot of fun to use, but allowed distance from allies feels a little bit too restrictive. So they made the range of it 15 to 20 meters. So you can be 5 extra meters away while having the Rat King perk active. Acreus has some movement penalties because they want to make it feel like a hefty gun because it's a Cabal weapon. So they reduce the movement penalties so more people will use it without it feeling like a heavy giant gun. Bastion the nerf was a little bit too much, so they reduced the spread angle by 6% instead of 12%. They halved it. Quicksilver Storm's grenade, they intentionally shipped it a little bit weak, so they decided to bring it back up. The PvP maximum grenade damage is increased from 80 to 120. The increased explosion radius from 3 to 4 meters, so you can be a little bit less accurate and do more damage. And they switched the rocket damage from arc to kinetic. That way, I guess it can't get a little bit of perks from the arc stuff. Cold Hearts arc 3.0 rework wasn't generous enough with the ionic traces, so they reduced the cooldown on the traces from 3.5 to 2 seconds. They maxes out stability and reload when at maximum damage, and then picking up a trace now reduces the time it takes to get to max damage. So if you activate a trace, you get it, you can get to that max damage threshold a lot faster, and you get maximum stability and reload at the end of that magazine. So that's definitely gonna be an interesting change. Overture's loop,
I haven't really used Cold Hard much since Leviathan raid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me neither. I mean, I used it a little bit in the beginning of this season because of the arc.
Yeah, was that this season or last season? You used it in GM some with Divinity.
Yeah, last season I did. Yeah, because it had overload. All right. So Grand Overture's loop doesn't feel rewarding enough, so they're going to dramatically increase it. The missile damage has been increased by 50%. So that's going to be interesting. Xenophage only deals AoE damage currently, which causes issues against some enemies in PvE. They're not going to change the weapon by much, but they're addressing that pesky issue. So it now deals roughly half of its damage as impact and the rest of it as detonation. Overall damage was increased by 5%. So we'll see how that feels, but that's going to be an interesting hit. When adjusting Divinity, they also looked at some bugs affecting Cloud Strike. So the Lightning Storm will now correctly activate when hitting Divinity. So that'll be a good Divinity Tanix move again, since it'll be actually working. And now the armor changes. Someone else want to take this?
Yeah, I'll go
Or
ahead.
am I going for it?
So Worm God's Caress reduced maximum damage multiplier from 7.5 to 3.5, and then Widow's Guile reduced maximum damage multiplier from 7.5 to also 3.5. So that stacked with 1-2 punch is really just really taking down some of those big nukes that you can get off with that.
They didn't hit my handshake.
Oh, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Nobody uses it anyways.
Hey.
So Glide Falcons, they have a change for 6.3.0.1. So that is the week after the new season drop. And what they're aiming it to do is that when you come out of invisibility, you gain volatile rounds. And then when executing a finisher while invisible, the exotic now gives nearby allies a reserved overshield and give the wearer a temporary bonus to weapon damage. So basically, just if you want that extra damage now in PvP, you got to be using a void weapon. So Palindrome, Grid Skipper, some other like void primary weapon, like that's what you would need to do to reduce your time to kill. Future ahead, heavy weapon damage rebalance, tinkering with bringing in less effective weapons and bringing down some of the damage outliers. So probably linear fusions are getting hit sometime next season, probably mid-season patch. And it's probably what's going to be after the mid-season patch, the Lightfall DPS meta. There's going to be a large rebalance to AE stat for primary weapons, and they want it to feel more like Icarus level in Season 17. There's also going to be some tweaks to the new shotgun reticles, as we mentioned before, and then another pass at subclass 3.0 tuning. So we talked about Glide Falcon. The big problem with that is Void Hunters being invisible in PvP. So from now on, when Hunters are invisible, or if maybe anybody's invisible in PvP, your radar gets nerfed to only a 24-meter range. And playtesting shows that should bring down some of the usage and make it easier to identify when a player goes invis. All right, next up, Season 19 artifact mods. So, this used to be the biggest thing when you log into the first day of the season. We want to go see what they are for the weapons you're going to use that season. However, they're basically going to tell us. So next season, they're going to bring in more stasis artifact mods because the last 3 seasons we focused on the light. And then for weapons, we're going to have hand cannons, scout rifles, bows, pulse rifles, auto rifles, and SMGs. So my personal 2 favorites, hand cannons and SMGs, get to use both of those. Also, they're bringing back Unstoppable Grenade Launcher mod. And Lucent Finisher returns as an easy way to get heavy ammo. And also a version of Passive Guard that works with glaives. And they're also reprising Breach and Clear, which was probably one of everybody's favorites, but costs 9 energy in that class item. All right, last thing that's probably
going to be an easy GM season.
Yeah. They're probably going to throw in like the 3 hardest GMs too. Probably not Lightblade again, but Proving Grounds and the Corrupted. We'll probably get both of those next season. All right, vote on Arbalest. You get 3 selections. You got Historic, Black Armory, and Synthwave. So, Fox, what's your vote for out of those 3?
Honestly, when I looked at it, I actually thought all of them were all right. But the very last one, for whatever reason, was the one that kind of popped out.
Yeah.
To me. I can't remember which order they were in. I'm sorry.
That's Synthwave.
You're talking about the wrong one, but it's okay. I'm just a Black Armory stan. Ada 1 is my best friend.
Ada
and
1
it looks
should have
so
been
clean.
Ada 87. Like, she is not number 1. She is far from number 1.
She's never died, my guy. So she is 1. That is it. She's
she-
also the only
that's
exo
because
made
she-
in the light.
Yeah, and she stands there and makes clothes. So
She lived through the entire
she's a real
dark, like the
badass.
dark times. She lived just
She's a-
like the Drifter. She survived
real-
without dying.
Yeah, come here and use your cotton and make textiles. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Hey
give
man,
me
they
a break.
forced that job on her, dog.
She's over the clothes. She's over the Destiny clothes, and you think she's so great. The thing that
She is
Jared
great.
hates
She's
the
the best.
most.
All right, I'm taking Black
her
Armory
fault.
mod. I think the black and red looks great.
She's not even as good as. Of course you are, Jared.
The
Why wouldn't your
synthwave was a
dad
close
choose the
second.
same
It
two
was.
things?
I saw. So I scrolled
Why
down
wouldn't
slowly so I could see them one at a time. I saw the historic one. I'm like, that's kind of neat. I saw the Black Armory one, and I had to change my pants. I came back, and then I saw the synthwave one, and I'm like,
I think
gosh,
you mean
darn
you
it.
come back.
No, I had to change my pants because I spilled my soup. And then I saw the synthwave one, and I was like, gosh darn it, if that Black Armory one wasn't here, this would be an easy choice. This would be because that synthwave one is so dope. It is so cool.
Dude,
I'm
first
like,
of
gosh,
all, Synthwave is number one. Historic is number two, and Black Armory is a distant third.
no, that historic
You guys
one
are
is
like-
here
no,
we
no.
go.
You guys are worse than the Jordan people. That everything has to be the bread, the black and red colorway.
I mean, we've
Just
already
like-
established very well that it's okay for Ryan to be wrong because he does it a lot here. And that's fine. That's totally
one of
fine.
us has to speak the truth. You know.
Yeah, there's already
one
two
of
of us, Ryan.
All right, speaking truth, we got 3 likes and dislikes. So I'll go ahead and lead it off. So I called it with the AE stat of Darcy and Whispered. I'm taking credit for it anyways. I said might as well make it 100 for them because who cares if you hit shots from the air with a heavy sniper. And that's what basically Bungie did. It's going to be very easy. There's so many exotics that give you plus 20 AE that you're going to be able to hit those jump snipes and have fun in PvP.
My like this week is actually going to be controversial. Imagine that. The Eververse store, while I agree it is nowhere near perfect, it's better than a lot of the other games that I've been playing since Bungie has allowed me to go out and play other games. By the way, they've handled this game. I see a lot of just pure trash in other games, so it makes me somewhat appreciate the Eververse store, even though I think everything is like $5 more than it probably should be.
Yeah, I mean, after playing Overwatch and looking at their store, I'm like, bring back the gacha boxes because this store is horrible, man. The way the currency is used in Overwatch just makes me very sad because I like all that stuff and it makes me sad. Anyway, my I will talk about in the lore section. I'll lead off with that. But my dislike is not chilling with the boys. So I'm excited that next Tuesday we're going to have something to do, my guys. I'm assuming, Ryan, that we are probably going to be streaming at least Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the two.
Yeah. We got to get that dungeon out of the way, dog. You got a dungeon coming.
Dungeon comes out Friday or Thursday.
Friday.
It comes out the 8th.
Okay.
But
I guess I was
we'll
thinking
definitely
more
do
of
that
next week as opposed to
next week. Yeah.
Tuesday.
I mean, if you don't want to stream day one, I will. But anyway.
Oh, I'll be on. I'll be on to see the 45
dislike
minutes
is very
of
much
content that we get.
not chilling with these two handsome AF mofos over here, and listening to them talk about cousin Cody and others. Yeah, I'm happy to get back to that, and I'm sad that it hasn't happened the last couple weeks.
Don't forget about Darkhaze. We talk about him too.
Oh, a lot.
My dislike is waiting for a new season if you don't care for the current season, because that's been me this entire year of Destiny. Not really liking the current season we're in, hoping the next one's going to be a bit better, but always slightly disappointed, unfortunately.
My dislike this week is I was more excited about unlocking comp and Overwatch than I am for Season 19 of Destiny 2 because Bungie hasn't put out anything about Season 19 of Destiny 2. So if you want me to be hyped about it and try to get people to come back and play, you got to put shit out for it, or I'm just not going to care.
What are you talking about? We got that one kind of teaser and that one cutscene like 6 months ago that may or may not hint at what we're getting next Tuesday.
All right. Gambling Corner. Nobody has touched a mouse, hasn't touched any of us.
Haven't been on.
So,
No, I wish it would.
Chad, what's going on in lore this week?
Lore, okay. Well, first off, I am going to say that my like for this season for today is that I preemptively called Rasputin. And I'm gonna call it like Jared called his AE, because he said it and it cracked me up that I read that. And I'm like, that's exactly what Jared said. And I can't believe it, because it's funny to me that they're giving a high airborne effectiveness for weapons that need to be aimed down sights for a little bit. But that's neither here nor there. Based on the TWAB, they already talked about first of all, for the cutscene, once they released it on Tuesday, and they officially put it onto YouTube so people could watch it. In the description, they wrote Zivro Aroth. So I'm like, cool. That's kind of what I've been talking about a little bit. When I talked about my speculation the last time. And then in this season, they're in this TWAB, they talked about the Lucent Finisher, how that's coming back. And I was like, ooh, okay, Lucent Finisher's back. So that means Hive is going to be a bigger deal. There's going to be more Hive going around. Maybe it's just more Hive GMs. But Hive might be an enemy type that we're going to be really focused on. Because why would they give us Lucent Finisher without having a bunch of Lucent Hive? Next was they talked about more weapons next season coming in with Seraph rounds. And I'm like, okay, that's basically what I'm talking about today. I'm just going to rehash what I've been talking about every speculation for this year, essentially. And that's Rasputin. My boy, my little boy, trapped in an engram. So in like I started off the last time, season 3 in Warmind, we helped Anna Bray reactivate his core on Mars. And then we move on all the way into season 10 with Season of the Worthy, where we work with Anna Bray and Rasputin to activate all the bunkers across the system so that we can activate the giant net in the solar system of his net to keep an eye on darkness. And then next in Season of Arrivals, we watch him get taken out immediately. He attacks a pyramid ship, and then blink, he blinks out. Anna Bray is in the core, and he just turns off. Whether that is like a final, like he says, "Oh no," and turns off in order to save himself, or if he was deactivated by the witness, we're not sure. But Anna does everything she can that season to basically download Rasputin into that engram and take him off world. Because obviously it's something bad was going down there. So that happens. Now in the book Durus and Egress, we go through basically the dark future that the Elizabeth has lived through. So the entire time that she's gone through, and in that timeline, she and Anna are able to put the engram, which it wasn't an engram at the time, which the engram is the best way to, I believe in you, Ryan. It was the best way to hold data. Like you could hold the most data and keep it safe. The safest is in an engram. In the dark future, he was on a disk drive. He was on a drive. So not very safe. Probably couldn't download the entirety of Rasputin, but they were able to download him into an exobody in that timeline from the drive. Now it was like a kind of so it was a pillory engram, so not a full engram, but like just engram. So they did it. They got him into a body and got him out of there. So we know that they succeeded there. And they had him. They got him through a bunch of stuff, and we know for a fact that it's possible to put him in an exobody because they went into the Bray facility to do it. So if next season, we have a Rasputin season, we know that we have an ability to go into the Deep Stone Crypt and put him in an exobody. Now in the Grand Overture lore, Anna Bray is working with a scion to look inside of the engram to see if she can find out his consciousness and make sure it's still there. And so she uses the psionic abilities to connect, kind of like we did in the first season of the year, to the engram, and she finds him there. She finds a faint javelin that is still there. He is still alive within that engram, and that gives her hope. So we know that he's there. We know that we can put him in a body. apparently Zivu Wrath is going to be around. So it might be a combination of both of the things that I'm guessing, which is Zivu and Rasputin. Now, if we kill Zivu in a season, I'm going to be very upset. But if she's just doing what she does, kind of like what she did in last seasons, where she's just like puppeting her people on us, then that's fine. That's totally fine. But I think it's going to be a combo of the two. Now that all that kind of stuff happens, and I'm happy to get Rasputin back. I'm happy to get more Seraph round weapons. I hope that they make Warmind cells into an intrinsic perk for these weapons.
Okay.
That would be neat.
Yeah.
Maybe they add another mod or two, but you know, they make like 2 or 3 perks per season, so it could be interesting seeing what we get.
Yeah. I didn't even think about War Mind Cells getting buffed in some way. Yeah, I don't think there's any way Zivu could be a seasonal one and done like boss, right? Like we just had Aramis come back.
The other two hot gods have been.
We didn't even take out Aramis, and she was just right there in front of us. We just stood there and watched. Play pocket pool. Like, what are we doing? So,
You know what that means?
yes.
Okay. Who was the strike where you like went in, it was a hive strike, you went underground and you fought
Oh, the one with the wool witches or whatever?
Nope, not that one. Was that one of like Prota's bros or sisses?
Oh, the one with the worm and the
sunset
on Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one with Nocris at the end.
Nocris. I was wanting to say Noctis, but that was Final Fantasy.
That's
Nocris is
the
right answer. Yeah. We killed Nocris in a season. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So.
Was that Arrivals? I think that was Arrivals.
Oh, it's the second time.
That was before that. Wasn't that a Warminder?
No. Nocris was we actually killed him in Arrivals because we were going towards the tree. Remember? It's like every time we tried to get to the tree, we got pulled into like a throne world, and then we finally killed him in the throne world at the end of the season.
I'm just gonna defer to you because I trust you much more than I trust me when it comes to that stuff. So, all right, are we at mailbag?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We already got the first question earlier, so we'll go to the second question. Crazy internet people are threatening to quit playing over this Osiris Saint 14 cutscene. That's super dumb for those people. Has a game ever made you angry enough to quit playing? And that question comes from Easton in the Discord server. I've been pretty pissed off playing games before. Usually sports games that make me angry, and I'll like turn them off. But as far as like quitting playing, I don't think so. Jared's probably the most likely. Jared is the easiest to rage quit.
Oh yeah.
Out of the three of us.
So we mean quit as in we uninstalled the game and never downloaded it back?
Probably. I would kind of take it that way. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, made you angry enough to where you just.
I did that with Warzone. Yeah. So like I literally turned and like the dude was up in the window and my reticle was on his head and I'm shooting, and then I did no damage and died, and then it shows like the kill came and then like you was viewing me. You said like I was just way off to the right, even though on my screen I couldn't do anything else about it. So I was like, all right, I'm done. Just can't do anything else. I uninstalled and quit.
Yep.
I haven't went back to Warzone.
Oh man. I remember this was a long time ago. I couldn't beat this level on Rayman and never played it again. Like I legit spent like I think as a kid like 5 hours on it trying to beat it, and I just couldn't do it. I could probably beat it now, but like back then it was what seemed literally impossible, and I just couldn't do it. So I never picked that up. And the same thing happened to Croc. Level
Legend of the Cabos.
Heck yes.
I know about Croc. That was one of my PS1 games.
I couldn't beat it, and I just never picked it up again. I would see it and be like, yeah, not touching that. I'd rather play Gex, Enter the Gecko.
Yeah. I'm more of a Gex guy myself personally. Question 3, and this is probably one of my favorite questions that's ever been sent in here to the podcast. If your Guardian had entrance/intro music, think wrestling, that played during the Crucible intro cutscene, and you could choose any song from Spotify without fear of copyright infringement, which song would you choose? Also, how much would you pay to change the intro music?
All right. I have a question for this podcast. Okay.
Okay.
Do we agree that old Kanye is different person, whoever this new Kanye is? And can we use
Yes.
old
Listen,
Kanye music?
I was I just want you guys to know I was a top 5% Kanye West listener in my Spotify Wrapped. Like Kanye was my number 1 artist, so I love Kanye.
So like, I like Kanye before Kimye. How about Kanye before Kimye?
Yeah, that's acceptable.
So
He was crazy then, but not out
Yeah.
loud crazy.
I think it would be Power.
Oh,
Okay.
that's not even old Kanye. That's like middle Kanye.
Yeah, but still, that
Okay.
song is so good when it comes to like video game and being
Yeah.
with powers. Yeah.
The only bad part about that would be, what if you don't have the highest power in the room?
Nope. Still do.
Like you're setting yourself up.
Yep.
Like if somebody else's power level is higher than yours, then
Mm.
set yourself up.
Still better. Built different.
All right. Chad, what about you?
You're gonna have to go first, Ryan. I don't listen to music as much as these two and remember the names of songs. So I'm still the gears are still turning. I think I have an idea, but you're gonna have to go.
All right. So I had it down between 2. The first one is Big Papa from Notorious B.I.G. The second is It's Raining Men, because I think it would be hilarious to have that, just It's Raining Men, like
Yeah.
the chorus, the beginning of it. That would make me dance every time this Crucible match started.
What's the song about? They literally like, run, little kids, you better run, run, run. And it's like
That's Pumped Up Kicks.
pumped up kicks. Yeah,
The song about a school shooting.
it is.
That's what that song's about.
It's a terrible song.
Yeah.
Through
But,
yeah,
but you
Yeah.
walk into that.
that's what you choose. I want to disavow. I want to say that as a podcast producer, I disavow Pumped Up Kicks as the school shooting song.
I just can't believe
from
you play
Jared.
that on the radio.
Yeah, all the little kids with the pumped up kicks.
Yeah.
Better run, better outrun my gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I just some of the songs. Yeah.
All right. So my two options are gonna be Timber, Kesha, or
solid.
We Like the Cars. The cars that go boom. Because it's great. It's a classic song and I enjoy it very much.
Can I change my answer from It's Raining Men to Bodies by Drowning Pool? Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I like that one.
This should
And
just
then
be
I
a
wrote
question
in
every week.
Just come up with a new song. Yeah.
Yeah, like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together by Taylor Swift. Another solid. All right. Question 4. What other games have you guys been playing? I personally have been playing God of War, the 2018. Not the God of War that requires a PlayStation. Whenever it comes to Steam, I'll buy it day one and I'll play it. I have also been playing the new Call of Duty Warzone. I did not buy it. I only have the free version, but I have not been playing the Warzone. I've been playing the DMZ, which is like the baby version of Escape from Tarkov. And I've been playing that with my brother-in-law and one of his friends, and I have been thoroughly enjoying that. So if anybody wants to play that game, just hit me up on Twitter. You can either do at NotRyanFox or at DestinyCCPod, and we can wake up on there.
For me, it's been Overwatch. Finally unlocked Overwatch Comp and into my placement games. and that is a totally different game. Whenever you get into the next tier of players playing comp, you can play the quick play. It is night and day. So a big learning curve ahead of me, just in time for me to forget about the game and go back to grinding Destiny, so I can do GMs in 7 weeks.
Woo.
Yeah.
For me, I think I've been talking about it on here before. So the last 2 weeks. So it's been Pokemon, the new Pokemon Violet, Pokemon Scarlet. I just recently beat Violet, so I'm going in the end game stuff right now. I'm literally in there right now. Think Pokedex is at almost 280 out of 400. I've gotten 5 shiny mons. Very excited about that. I'm gonna have a shiny King Gambit. I'm very excited about that. He's cool. But yeah, just been playing the Pokemons. I always enjoy them, so I'm always in there when they come out.
Last question. What did you ask Santa Claus to bring you for Christmas? I haven't seen Santa Claus yet this year, but thinking about asking for chicken and dumplings from one of my grandmothers and peanut butter fudge from one of my other grandmothers.
Ooh.
And also RTX 4090, if he's into that kind of thing. I'd take one of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must though wrote the address too sloppy when I wrote the letter, and he must not have got it, because I kind of haven't got a present for a while now. So I think I just need to start typing it up and sending it before I go capture a reindeer or something and throw it in the trunk at this point.
Yeah. I'm looking for not to be bothered. That's my Christmas.
Okay.
Man, you guys
at this
you guys
point,
suck.
I'm asking for Touch of Malice. I sure hope I have
Oh.
it. I sure hope I get it before Christmas.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. Keep in mind you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. If you're into looking at our ugly mugs, you can do that on the YouTube. We go live every Thursday, somewhere between 9:30 and 10. And as soon as we start the podcast, we go live. We have a little bit of a pre-show where you get all the juicy content about our lives personally. And then we record the show live, answer questions, yada, yada, yada. And remember, on Twitter, at DestinyCCPod, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. I'm going to let these other guys sign off.
Yeah, so it's time to break out the stouts. Probably having a stout every now and then until Christmas comes around. If anybody's doing Christmas advent calendars, so if you are, just add us on Twitter. Let me see what you're opening up.
And if you're like me and you're a humbug and Grinch, enjoy your December. And we'll be here. We'll be here, especially next week, since it's going to be new Destiny time. So we'll be around.
Go Cats.